This is a reading that I did the other day, and it is a specific reading for a situation. And here is the situation. I think that a lot of us are dealing with individuals that we are having difficulty with. The difficulties may vary, but sometimes the reason for having difficulties can be described as not understanding the other person. I think that in order to understand a person, you have to be able to get to know how they act, how they react, what drives them, what are the things that they are. What is it that they are about, and what is it that you are about, and how do those two things dovetail together, or do they just clash? So if you are experiencing a situation where you and another person are having some difficulties really communicating or getting along with each other, this might be a reading that you resonate with. I've laid this out in this direction because I want to go through these cards one by one. The person that is you in this reading is over here on the far left, this first row of cards. The person you're having difficulty with is here in this next to the last row of cards. I'm going to see the person's energy in the top row, and that's for both the individuals. Things that are in the recent past between the two individuals in the second row. And the third row will be a root cause. What is it that is at the basis of this situation? There are other cards here. The second row here is clarifiers. And in some cases, I got multiple cards as clarifiers. So there's 3 clarifiers here for one of them. Then there is some advice, which goes up here. I pulled 2 cards of advice. And then I talked about the underlying factors that were here. And these 4 cards came out. And then the deck that I used ended up having the Hanged Man or the Hanging Man reversed as the final underlying card. And I'll talk about that when we get to the end. But wait a minute, I will talk about it first because I think it's interesting. The Hanged Man typically talks about being in a situation where you are waiting and contemplating and surrendering to an intentional reflection, looking for wisdom and teachings, and it can also talk about enlightenment, seeking enlightenment, finding enlightenment. Upside down, though, it can be talking about a stagnant situation. It can talk about holding on to something that's not meant for you or is not serving you, and it can be stubbornness. It can also be the tendency to be a martyr. So that is something that we fall into sometimes when we're in a situation with another person. We feel like a victim, we get stubborn, we don't want to, we do things that are not in our self-interest that sabotage the situation a little even more. So the message that is really under this is flow with it. And this is talking about looking at the whole idea of this situation from a different perspective. And you let go with it, because if you're stuck with trying to understand the other individual, this reading is intended to give you some insights that might help you shift into a more open heart for the individual you're struggling with. Also, that just that kind of surrender. It's just a suggestion to turn it in this direction, and it will probably work better for you if you do surrender to it. So I'm going to set this to one side, and I will start. So the first card for you, this is the card of the Six of Pentacles reversed. And the Six of Pentacles really, in this situation, it's a situation, you have your energy right now in such a state that this is talking about a balance of give and take and flow. It can be a card of giving, and it can be a card of receiving help or receiving something. Not help, it can be help. It could be any number of things. So right now, I think that is one of the things that is your energy is you're not willing, I think, to really you're not in a balanced give and take situation. You feel yourself maybe being stubborn, and if someone is offering you help for something, you're not willing to accept it, or maybe you're not being maybe you're not giving your you're holding back your communication, or you're holding back your compassion, or something that you are not really, it's out of balance. I pulled a clarifier card for that, and what I got here was the Knight of Wands, and I think that is it's an interesting card to be there, because it is a youthful energy. It is a spontaneity. It's talking about enthusiasm and courage and inspired action. So you want to, I see this as the desire for you to get through this. You have the desire, but something here is holding you back. Maybe it's something you just don't know how to do this, and you really want to, you feel like you should, you have ideas about what might help. And it could be that you feel like you're going to do something impulsive or reckless if you're not careful, which is understandable. Now let's look at the other person. The other person's energy starts with the Page of Pentacles. And the Page of Pentacles is an energy that is well, the pages are going to be young. Their energy in this case is young, and a youthful energy, and a perhaps again a sort of, let me see, someone who is a beginner. It talks about manifesting new opportunities. So the person here could be in a new opportunity. I think I get that from this. And there is a sense over here that you may not be in a new opportunity. This may be someone who has crossed your path, that has come into the situation. And they've got good ideas, they've got ambition, they're looking forward to increase their skills. It could be a completely new career path for them. And so the idea behind this is that this is a person who is really trying to make their own plans reality. And so to clarify a little bit more about them, I pulled this card, the King of Cups. So this tells me that they are an emotional being as well, and that this may not be a quality that you see in them, but based on the disagreement you have, you might not see a person who has emotional intelligence, or patience and stability and creativity, and it could be that they're trying to be these things. They want to, and maybe that's what they're trying to learn, how to be a wise leader. And so this, to me, feels like younger energy. And this feels like it could be either more mature, whether in age or just in outlook. The energies are different here between the two. So that's the first thing that I would say, is that this is a different perspective entirely from this. This is someone who's learning. And I think that they want to be that good, balanced, composed, loving, diplomatic, supportive, nurturing, wise leader. So they want to connect, but there's a problem there. So you're not connecting. So where is the problem? So let's look at the past. And the past card for you is the Two of Pentacles reversed. Now, so far we've got Pentacles all on the cards here for the characters in this, and the Two of Pentacles reversed, and for the person you're having difficulty with, oh, the Seven of Pentacles. So this is starting to look like it could be a project situation or a work situation or something in the material world that's going on. Because I think with the Pentacles that are showing, there's a good chance that that's what this is about. Now, the Two of Pentacles talks about having a situation where you need to be finding balance with something. You're trying to find balance, but in the reverse, this tells me that that is not really necessarily happening. You're feeling out of balance. Now, why that is not apparent at the moment, but it could be that you are feeling that you may be feeling that your dream is at risk. Maybe something that's happening here is threatening the project and your livelihood. You feel that way, and it's kind of thrown you off. The reversal shows that this could be a time that you need to create stronger foundations to support your dream, because things are out of balance. There could be missed opportunities. You might have felt like you missed out on something. There is often a need to prioritize. It can also be wanting too much, like being a little bit greedy about something. So I clarified that, and I got these three cards. I got the High Priestess, which is interesting in this spot. And I don't know what that tells us. I think that the first impression with that is that you have been in a different headspace. All of this real world activity, you've been in a different headspace where you have been going on an internal, emotional, and spiritual sort of journey within yourself. And also, the Nine of Wands, which is you've been working a lot. You are tired. You are worn out by what you've been working on. And so you may have some issues with that as well. And then we get the Lovers over here. And these three cards together, I think that this is not necessarily actual, like a companionship, a desire for like a relationship. I think this is internal work. This is work on yourself. This is work on yourself. This may be your actual work that you're doing. It could be a combination of the work that is in the real world and being sort of worn down by the deep spiritual journey that you've had yourself on. So this card is kind of interesting because in the traditional tarot, it is a warrior, a wounded warrior standing sort of in front or holding the one wand that is still burning. But they're ragged, they're injured, they're battle worn. And in this one, there's a sort of a rickety looking fence structure out of the wands, some of which are a little bit wonky looking in the first place. And this is a person who's tried their best to get something to the Ten of Wands, which would be the completion and actually, at the end of the Wands journey, just before the end of it. But they are tired, they are worn out, and they're not sure. This can be a sign that you need to push on. So you feel like, despite the stuff that's going on in your spiritual and your emotional life, you need to find something that will help you get this situation resolved, and it also may be affecting the way that you are interacting with this individual. It could be that what this individual is how this individual is not meshing with you, is showing you things about yourself that are opportunities to do some personal work, and that personal work can be very difficult and very tiring. So I think that could be part of it. This is a different headspace for you. And they are in the Seven of Pentacles. They're maybe at a point where they have their project or whatever they're working on in a state of it's almost there. They're waiting for the completion of the project. They're waiting for things to come to fruition. It can also be impatience, a little bit of impatience. They might be frustrated a little bit. Maybe the energy of the Page of Pentacles, they're wanting to push things forward, and they're wanting really for this to be successful. So they might be a little concerned about that. And so there may be things are on their mind that are not on yours. And to clarify that, I pulled the Page of Swords in reverse. Now, the Page, again, this is more youthful energy with the Page. It's reversed, and so instead of it being a usual meaning for this might be someone who is really curious, has a lot of restless energy. They like learning new things. They can be an apprentice or a student. They like ideas and reasoning and thought, and they're looking to improve that. In the reverse, though, it can mean that they might be a little arrogant. They have too much nervous energy, and they may talk too much. And there is also a possibility that they're a little bit dishonest. So, or you know, they don't quite have this composed person. That's not really what they're embodying in the recent past. This is how their energy has felt previously. So there could be some insecurities here, and I think that might be something that is an issue, because this is a person who's not all what they think, what they would like to be, or at least they have not felt that is the case. They may actually be that. They may actually not really have gotten to the point where they understand that this is what they can be, but they're insecure about it. So they've been insecure. Let's say they've been insecure, they've been impatient, and they could have some immature things going on with them. So the next card is the root cause, and for you, the root cause, I drew the Queen of Pentacles, and for the individual you're having difficulty with, I drew the Five of Pentacles reversed. And now those are interesting, because this is a complete opposite, but now we see Pentacles and Pentacles all the way for the person that you're having difficulty with. So I'm almost convinced that this could be a work situation. So someone that you're dealing with in a project, could be any kind of project, it could be a relative, could be something that you know you're working on whatever together. You're just working. It could be even a partner. It's a partnership of whatever sort. So I don't know what the situation is, but if this feels like the person that you're having difficulty with, and you know that could be a lot of what's going on here. So let's look at the Queen of Pentacles here for you. For you, the Page of Pentacles is not I keep saying Page of Pentacles. Why is that on my mind? I don't understand. The Queen of Pentacles. I think it's because of all the Page energy over here. But the Queen of Pentacles is this is someone who could be a healer, but they they have a lot of abundance. They have strength. They have a kind heart and a nurturing heart. They're grounded. They're down to earth, and they're generous. So you have a lot of generosity. I am kind of wondering if in this instance, this might be a thing that has made you give too much. And so that would mean the Six of Pentacles can be giving too much. And there could be a situation where you've given away too much to this individual in order to try to make things better. It could also be something completely different. So I looked at the clarifier, and I got the Judgment card. Now this goes along with the card right above it, in that this is a time for you when you are actually going through a rebirth. And it is a very deep, moving situation for you. And this this is your energy. You're generous, and you're going through this rebirth. And some of those things that are happening, that makes these cards make a lot more sense, because you have been doing the internal work that comes with going through this type of spiritual rebirth. And you have been doing the work, and you have come up with things that you need to work on. So what I think is happening here is you have found an individual who may embody some things that you might have thought about yourself, that things, your insecurities, they may be saying things that it's like, this reminds me of me. And this really annoys me. It could be things that you do not like about yourself that you're seeing. And that could be what is happening here, is that you're finding this in this other individual. And this person at the root is in the Five of Pentacles reversed. And let's look at that, because the Five of Pentacles is the card that you typically see. And a person who is, or a couple of people who are standing outside a church building and looking ahead of themselves in a storm, and they do not see the lights that are on in a church window that is in the background. This is feeling left out, feeling ostracized, worrying about security, feeling abandoned. It can be financial or health difficulties. It can be things like that. And when it's reversed, this can be a resistance to positive thoughts. It could be a person who has low self-worth, and that it keeps you from seeing the good things. It keeps you from seeing the things that are positive. Because this card, as you can see, is a little bit, there is a key right here that would let this dejected looking individual out, if only she would notice that the key to her getting that is right there. So when it is like this, it's just, you need to shift your perspective. And when it's like this, it's like a person who refuses to see that for whatever reason. If they have these doubts, these self-doubts that are kind of showing up in these cards here, I can sort of understand why they would put on this front. They want to be this, but they don't feel like they deserve it. They don't feel that positive. Maybe they've had a hard time. Maybe their life has been really rough. So I pulled a clarifier for that and see what we can get with that. And that is an interesting combination of cards. This is the root cause, and I think this really is, they want this. They want this so badly, but they do not feel like they deserve it. They want this very badly, and they are doing things. Again, I think this could be, in the situation here, that this individual, you, are really working hard to go through what you know is a phase of great change. There's so much going on here, and you have the generosity and compassion, and it's mystifying to see an individual doing this kind of thing. I don't know what situation they're in, but you're clashing over something. You're having problems over something. So you will know what the situation is, but I think that this gives you a perspective that there's a lot more going on with this individual than may meet the eye. We don't know what the situation exactly is, but I think they do, at their heart, at their deep inside them, they want that, which this promises, and they could have been terribly disappointed in their lives and not really understand this is what they can be. It's what they want to be, and that there's these things that they need to work out. Then I pulled some cards of advice, and these cards were the Emperor and the Four of Wands reversed. The Emperor, as advice, is kind of along the lines of the Queen of Pentacles in my mind. It's a divine masculine form of someone who is really together, someone who has a lot of energy and creativity, and is at the top of their game. They are really Aries energy, and they have a lot of authority, they have a lot of power, they are a natural leader, and they're a person who is good at strategy and analytical thinking, and then taking action and putting things into motion. This is the ability that you have here. There is some way, the advice I believe is to use this power and use it in a strategic and analytical way. You do not have to be mean. You can be compassionate, a compassionate leadership. You may be able to use what you already know that you have in your power, because you do have this in your power, and get to the point where you kind of lead the way for this individual. And you might be either too generous with them, but there could be a different type of generosity that is needed. Not doing something just because they ask you to. If they could be a boss, they could be a friend, they could be a partner, but something is out of balance here in this relationship, and a lot of that energy is sitting on this side's, has some more negative things happening here, and some desires that tell me that there are some things that they need to be working on here. This is their path. I think one of the things you're going to know is, if you look at it this way, this is their path to follow. And it could be that you feel that you can change them, but you need to remember that you are on your own path here to your spiritual awakening. They need to walk that walk themselves. You can be generous to them. You can be kind to them. You can be compassionate to them. But you can't do the path that you can't take them down that path. So that's part of it. This is knowing what you can do and what you can and can't control. And you cannot control the individual you're having difficulty with. And the second clarifier is the Four of Wands in reverse. And when I see that card, I always think of boundaries. And I think that I also think of a firm foundation, a nice stable foundation. This, to me, is telling me there is something that you can do to improve your own stability, because there could be some swirl here, because you do have your own thing, and your balance is not quite where it should be. So if you can take this card and you can turn it over and look at it and think, okay, what can I do to make my own self, my own situation, more stable? And I also see this as this is a celebration of kinship, kindred spirits, family. It can be family, and building a foundation and kind of a home, a place that feels like home. And I often see it as looking to be with your tribe, the people who with whom you feel that you are on the right path, that this serves you better than the kind of energy that you might be feeling here. And I note that I've put this divide between these two groups of cards because this is what you can really work on. This is what you're trying to understand. And you really can't shove this over in here. This person may end up being one of the people who ends up with your tribe, but you need to understand this is their path. And I think that's this. The strategic is let the person go their way, but do it with kindness and generosity of spirit. And take care of your boundaries. Don't give your energy away to the person in order to think that it might help them, or to think that, oh, if I do this, maybe they won't do this thing that they do. Because that's not going to happen. It's not likely to happen. So I looked at the underlying issues, and the cards that came up were these cards: the Ace of Swords, the Moon, the Six of Wands, and the Fool. Now, to me, the Ace of Wands with the Moon tells me that, well, actually the four cards together really kind of tell a story. The Ace of Swords is essentially coming to an aha moment. You're going to get clarity on this. You know, you are getting clarity, and this is underlying. So you are working this out under the surface. This is part of what the high priestess and this judgment moment and all of this work that your internal work that you're doing, and this, you know, dealing with your compassion for yourself and for others. You have been getting to the point of clarity that you have that work to do. You also have been going deep into things that were previously hidden. And so you are exploring the things that you know, maybe the things that are triggering you with this individual and causing the difficulties. These are the source, these are coming from the source that you are realizing these are parts of you that you do not like, that you have discarded. And this gives you an idea that, you know, I better work on myself. I'm the only one who can really work this out. And then it could be that either you had success in the past, or this is a thing that's saying, you know, recognize yourself for what you have done in the past. You know, you're looking at, I have achieved a lot in my life, and you're saying to yourself, I am now in a state where I see that by going into the depths of what is hidden and finding that I have to recognize that I have achieved this. And then you have also, and this is possibly due to a tower moment in not so distant past. Here's the Fool card. You're actually taking your own beginner's look at it, and this is the only card that I can say kind of could bridge the boundaries between the two, because, you know, at beginner's mind, this individual is learning. But you are kind of in a beginner's mind because you're going into a new, it looks like you're going into a new cycle on your own. And so you might be needing to say, and that might be what this is about. This could be the clarity of, right now, the emperor, the strategic analytical emperor, is going to say, it might be time for us to back off. It might be a time for us to let go of some of the things that are making us feel this Nine of Wands weariness, because there's been a lot in our lives. So there may be other things that I can do. There may be a reason to step back from all of what is going on and then step out into something completely new. You can see that you've had success, and this is a new phase for you. And then that is where, you know, at the very base, the Hanged Man. This being reversed is telling me that moment, that these things in the that are underlying this, you have done that work. You have come to that point. You've sat and rested and thought and waited, and you've got to the point where you know you don't need to wait for that anymore. This is time for you to go ahead. And then underneath it all, there's Justice reversed. There's some cards that are reversed here that go into what might have happened before, some things that hurt. Yeah, some decisions you had to make. But all in all, I think that the outcome of this is that you're going to find that the best work that you can possibly do is not worry about this person on this path. Work on yourself, and you will find that you will get to where you have stronger boundaries, and this won't bother you. You know, you'll say, that person is doing their thing. They're on their own journey. I will do what I can do within myself and not be concerned. And then I can make a fresh start if I need to. That may be the thing that is going to happen here. This may not be an outcome card. In fact, probably I should pull one. Because this kind of feels like the kind of reading that would be appropriate for. So I will pull a card for the outcome here and see what we get. And so these cards are going different directions, and we'll just see what we get. So the outcome, that's interesting. We've got the Seven of Swords. There could be something that is going to be revealed, and that's kind of an energy that I was feeling here, because this is the Page of Swords. Something may be revealed about the individual. This could either be the individual. I don't feel it's like you're lying to yourself, because that's sometimes what it can be. But the outcome is that something that is going on is going to be revealed. And I think that it's going to be something about the individual that you might have felt all along. Not sure, so I'm going to pull another. So what is the Seven of Swords? What is the Seven of Swords? Oh, that's interesting. That's, I think, and let's see, the Devil reversed is at the bottom. So the Ten of Swords, it came out kind of sideways. Now I'm kind of changing my mind. What I'm kind of thinking is this could be either, it could be both. This could be both. Something is not quite what it seems here with the person that you are struggling with. And it could also be that you have been trying to stay in a situation where it's time to go. It's, you know, it's time to leave. It's time to move forward and to move out of it. And this could be that you're going to realize this and you're going to make that break that has caused you the distress, because it does feel like there's a great deal of distress here, and realizing that you have really been kidding yourself about how perhaps, you know, you're going to see, yeah, I've been trying to change this person. I've been trying to do something that would make them change their mind, their behavior, and it hasn't worked, and I've kept trying. You finally make that your outcome is you walk away from that. You walk away from that energy. You don't have to walk away from the person, the situation. It depends on what it is. You might end up walking away from the situation, but you could, well, again, just successfully make that little boundary between you and the individual that you have difficulty with, and just you'll be at peace with that. So I am going to leave it there. I do think, well, she says, I do think that there is a toxic element to it that is ending, and that's sort of at the bottom. I think that could be something going on here. So I think that again, I would say that this card may well work in the middle there. The thing that sort of binds the two parties together is that one person is being somewhat deceptive and the other person is deceiving themselves. But that is going to end. And the toxicity could be just the combination of the energies together, codependence or whatever. But it's going to end, and it's going to be the end of the pain and the end of the difficulties. So by it, as long as you can do that, as long as you can move that energy into focusing on yourself and focusing on your love for yourself, I think that things will work out. I think things will work out for you as you hope, and you will get back to this. You'll get back to this energy here, the successful and the new adventure. And now I really will leave it there.